Reinforce it, yes.
Yes. But we want to appeal to the authorities this morning. Please listen carefully. We're trying to do prevention as we normally do here on our Dependency, is demand reduction prevention program. Our murder rate is going at a pace, and where we can seem to alleviate any untoward things happening in our country, let's play our part to do it. So on behalf of two set of citizens, we're going to make an appeal here this morning. There were two videos that went viral this week, and I'm sure the guy is a father attacking some people in his neighborhood. And also one that involves a law enforcement officer. Now, for the sake of your unit, officer, I would not reveal the unit that you're attached to. But I've already spoken to your head of your formation or related to persons connected to your head. Let me suggest that to the head of the association. And after this program, I'll reach out to him to see if he can have a chat with you so that you can help or that he can prevent Ashmead Khan from taking law into his own hands. This is after he has tried every avenue. But those of you who know what I'm talking about, Ashmead Khan from Sangre Grande, he released a video this week of a sawmill that is next to him in a residential area. That's right, folks, you heard right. And for some reason, we couldn't, between Natasha and I and Shortman, something about that link, they're not allowing you access to download. But I will play it from my phone, so you will hear how it sounds. But before we do that, the neighborhood war, and I don't understand for the life of me why adults in this country, leading by example of not preventing crime. Why? Preventing crime is not only up to the Ministry of National Security, the Police Service, or the PCA, and the Commissioner of Police and all. It's not up to them alone, folks. I don't know how. I mean, we grew up in a home, and I'm speaking for me. I grew up in a home that my mother would not even allow my brother and I, or sister and I, to not speak to each other. We used to get licks for not speaking to each other, because she always wanted us to be at peace with each other. You're going to tell me that in this day and age where crime and people seeing it going on actually want to be a part of it? Just like this morning, coming here, adults breaking traffic lights in this country like nothing. Well, that's another story for when we have the Commissioner of Transport in here. But, folks, what it is about neighborhood wars, or what it is have us so angry in Trinidad and Tobago that we cannot compartmentalize and separate our issues, that even if our boss giving us pressure or even things not going right in our lives, it does not give us the right to take it out on our neighbors. Isn't there any middle ground that people can reach each other to say, well, you know what, boy, let's try and fix this now. You know, I gave you all this story, and I'm just building this up. After the break, we're going to show you the videos, and we want you all who know about these situations here to try and speak to the authorities to intervene and do some reactive work, rather than show up there with bells on after somebody dies. Because the guy with the sawmill, imagine living next to a sawmill, folks. Imagine this now. Imagine you living next to a sawmill where you have a mother who is sick. She's smelling sawdust whole day.
And hearing this annoying sound of the drill.
The saw cutting wood.
The saw cutting wood. All day.
All day.
Throughout
the day, constantly. You try speaking with your neighbor. Although I understand the officer does not live in the area, but he comes there to work. And I understand the house that this sawmill is at is a bat-infested upstairs. So this guy, Ashmead Khan, has to deal with a double whammy. sawdust and noise during the day, and bats in the evening. And according to him, he had made several reports. He tried mediating with the neighbor. He got beaten up from him and some of his workers. Now, I'm just going by what was posted, what he said, and what people around him have been saying. Because a lot of people are being affected. But we're so afraid of each other that we're afraid to even speak with each other. Now, you will bear me out on this. Anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago where law enforcement officers reside, even firemen, if something happened in the area, most of the time villagers or the community will go to him or her for advice.
Yes.
Because you're wearing uniform, you're representing the state, you're supposed to have a little...
You're a pillar of the community.
You should
because
be.
Because you have that authority inherently, and you're supposed to be a pillar in your community, meaning that people will come to you when they need help.
Right.
Because that's the essence of your job regardless.
Exactly. Whether it's to guard and defend, protect and serve, hold and treat,
Correct.
or outfire.
Correct.
You need to outfire. And try not to create disharmony in your area, in your community, so we can all live in peace and harmony. I am not getting into no neighborhood war with nobody. I swear I'm not doing it. You could do what you want. I gave you all the example of some neighbors next to us when we had just moved into the area we're in. A friend of someone was helping us paint the wall, and he painted on top of the wall, about those 4-foot wall that divides boundaries. And
oh, but not to cut you, but the motto of the fire service is in service of the people.
Service of the
so you know.
Right. So and this guy who was helping clean up the yard,
yes.
He painted the top of the wall, which is about a 4-foot wide piece of concrete, 6 feet in length. He painted it in the color matching our house. When he was finished, the neighbor came and started to make a sort of noise. I wasn't home, called out the entire community, and they wanted to beat the man. It's a good thing the old soldier across the road from us was at home. He had to run across, rescue the guy, and tell them, no, he comes here every Saturday and he helps guard, and so on and so on and so on. Well, you think that wasn't bad enough? The lady called her son. He left wherever he lived and came down there and painted over the wall in the color of their house. Now, if I was an idiot, I would have waited until the paint dry and go and paint it over again. And he would have done the same thing. And I would have done the same thing.
Paint for paint.
Paint for paint. Until we pull one another over the wall and start our next battle. I said to Natasha, leave it just so and let us move on. I'm not going to play no topper for my wife to say I don't want nobody diss me in front of my wife and I don't want a nice stupid man. No, I'm a stupid man. With this concern, I am a stupid man because I know what I'm capable of. And on top of that, I know what prison is like already. So I don't need to go back. You understand what I'm saying? I went there already. So to attack this man for painting the wall just for a piece of concrete.
And this was an elderly lady, eh?
Yes. Eventually, God rest her soul, she died and left the wall right there.
Correct.
The moral of the story is, find a way to make peace first. Look at the domino effect and try to pull out one of the domino before it gets to the end. That's my way of thinking. And I'm going to continue to live like that because it's a peaceful way of living. I don't have to watch my back. And I don't have to be in contention with anyone. It is not going to happen. So I'm asking the question, is it different upbringing? Or is it that we feel we need to show this machoism, this ego gets in the way of reasoning?
Yes, it could be that. And just a segue to our topic for today and fathers, I found an article here about what being a father means. And one of the things it says, being a father means leading by example. As a father, we are the first role model for our children. They will mimic our behavior, habits, and values. Therefore, it's important to embody the traits and values that we want our children to adopt, such as honesty, integrity, respect, emotional control, responsibility, love, and kindness. Leading by example means being a role model. The world is built on nations, nations are built on communities, communities are built on families, and families are built on and take their cues from the strong role models of their fathers.
There you go. Now, I've said it many times here on this program that I really don't celebrate Father's Day for one reason, because I don't think I was a good father. That time I was heavily using drugs, and I didn't get time to raise my, or take my responsibility as a father. So it's not a crown that I walk around with, I'm best father, this and no, I don't do that, right? I always beat myself on the calves for that, and I'm sorry about that, but that's happened in my past. But what Natasha just read there is true, and there are some fathers, to you the fathers this morning who listen to this program, the adults who give children drugs to take to school to sell, and let your children sit with you and smoke drugs, and then you have them dependent on you, especially young ladies who you take advantage of. Happy Father's Day to you. But I'm setting this up. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to play those two in situations for you. You witness it yourself. And I'm calling on the authorities, because people would have made reports. Do not wait for a body to drop again, because you know who's going to get the blame. You know what the response is going to be on Facebook. You see it all the time.
Yep.
And social media. What the government doing about crime? And what the PNM government doing about crime? And what ULA doing about crime? And what the Minister of National Security doing? They're not doing anything. And they're just collecting money under false pretense. And so why it is these two neighbors couldn't sort this out and let the police go on to something more important? First of all, a sawmill not supposed to be in a residential area.
Correct.
Okay? This is not a industrial
Estate
or anything like that.
Correct.
All right? And can you imagine, folks, can you imagine that you have a sick mother in your home? The sawmill is just about 20 feet away from your home, and they're hearing that noise from the time they wake up. Listen, before we take the break, let me give you this next story. I don't know what is wrong with this house. In the same house, there was a guy who, by next to us, he had a sound system in his car that if he went to a party and current went, he could put the car on the stage and keep the party going. That's how loud that sound system was.
Boom, boom, boom.
Plus he had an AR-15 on 4 legs.
Felt like the studio inside here sometimes on a Sunday.
and plus he had a 4-legged AR-15. So that made it terrible for
AKA a pit bull.
Yes, a pit bull, I mean. Because them just as bad as AR-15.
Oh gosh, no, but he was a sweet one, but no. But yeah, that added to the, the angst.
Yeah. And the thing is, he would put on that, the one long weekend, he put on that thing, and listen, you're hearing the glass rattling in our home. That's how loud it was. We tried, we called the police, we didn't get any responses, and we just had to bear it until he found a conscience and turned down the music. I could have jumped the wall.
Yes, but guys, I think one of the solutions to this kind of neighborhood wars, as you describe it, is when the community comes together to solve a problem. Because I'm sure that this gentleman and his mother are not the only people affected by the dust and the noise.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have been prudent to, gather all of the people who are affected by this and approach the person as a collective rather than as an individual, because you saw the result of that.
But
So
remember,
maybe,
sorry.
No, it's just...
But remember I said we hardly have communities any longer.
Yeah.
We have
true.
people living together in the same place.
Yeah.
Because there are a number of people who have migrated from different parts of the country just to facilitate work and all of that. Or they leave south, come to town and stay. And so because I'm telling you, the postman came asking me for someone right in our hood, and I couldn't tell the person's name at all. Turns out the person right next door.
Oh, shucks.
So that's how bad it is now in our so-called communities. There are people live on the other side. They will come out, watch you in your face. Imagine people live around you for 4 or 5 years and never even said good morning once. That's the kind of communities we have. So it's hard to expect that they would come together on any issue because of,
Even one that is affecting their
Even one that is
physical and
affect-
mental
Yeah.
health.
And it's really sad to know, and that is still culture shock for me, because where we grew up, you couldn't walk past a neighbor without saying morning. You couldn't. And sometimes it was a whole exercise in going, from the time you walk out the road. It's morning, Miss Thompson, morning, Mr. Brown, morning, Miss Jackson, morning, Miss Williams, straight to the main road. Because and you pass one of them straight, your mother know that by the time you reach back home. So you pass Miss Williams to this morning and say good morning. You're a big man now? That's the way we grew up. So that is why it's culture shock for me.
Yes.
To wake up and see a neighbor next door and not even say good morning.
Yes.
That freaks me out to this day. Seriously, as old as I am, it just does not make sense. So folks, let's take a break. While we wait on our guest to arrive from prison service, let's take a break. And when we return, we'll deal with these two issues. I want you to drop your comments. Tell the police, the EMA, and whoever else, please intervene and do not wait for someone to take matters into their own hand for another juicy news headline. You're listening to Dependency. We'll be back.
Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the Counter-Trafficking Hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the On Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. Our guests are here, so we have to step on the gas a bit. But short man, just go to video A. Let's take a look at this. Tell me what you think. Those of you listening on radio, we can describe it for you. But this is really amazing that after making several reports, we still have this going on in our community. And it's really sad. Shortman, let's go.
And what you will see is there's some music. See is a compilation of videos. The first one just shows this same gentleman walking to the house, I assume, and taking some poles out of the ground.
Yeah,
and
so
he's seen walking away from the house with a cutlass in his hand, and then you see the attack on the vehicle.
Right, so he came and he took some poles out of the ground. You see him running up like he's stealing these poles. I don't know what he was intended to do, but here he is, and he looks like a father, right?
He could be.
Be a grandfather. Here's him pulling up in a SUV, in a pickup, in a white pickup. He takes out a cutlass. He goes to the other side of the vehicle.
And pelts some curse words as well. That's why I had to
Right.
mute the audio.
So here he's with the cutlass now, and he's
at this time, the owner of the vehicle is filming it, and he's on the phone with the police as well, telling them what is happening.
right. So he just render some chops on the vehicle, and he gets back into his vehicle, and he drives away.
And
So
you'll see
he-
some images after of the damage that he's done
Yes,
to the
he's
vehicle.
driving a white vehicle, and this is the damage that was done to the Toyota. Chop up the windscreen,
windscreen.
all of that. He, for some reason, think that where Marlon and they are, and you always hear me talk about JFC, that you prefer JFC to KFC. So he wanted to taste JFC. Because look the damage he did to this car. And the person posted a number of receipts to show how many times they reported this to the police.
Yes, there's some evidence of the police reports as well at the end.
Right. And we'll find out where this is. This took place. I apologize for that.
Well,
But
it was
we-
reported to Western Police Station.
West,
so
right. This is in the
Diego
West.
Martin.
Yes, this is in the West. And here are examples of the receipts that would send. They took pictures of it that the police have in their possession. They got receipts from there. A number of reports. Now, what could be end result of this, folks? What could be end result of this? Because this is not the person is not going to pay for this damage. As a matter of fact, there was a settlement that they refused to honor. We understand. So this is going to escalate, and how are we going to fix this, folks? Is the community going to come together to help fix this, or we just watch with our cameras and film the event and wait for the police now to come with caution tape? This is what we're going to reach to. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Happy Father's Day. And Marlon, the reason why we ask Bryce Maximum Meridian, the prison service, and we thank them once again for partnering with us this morning. Marlon is here to talk to you fathers out there. That there's no joy. You listen to the promo and you feel, well, okay, Marlon not boasting about, but Marlon is on remand for the last 15 years. When you see how many productive citizens we could have, would be productive citizens, if we speed up their matters and get them to come out of prison and continue with their lives and help. Look at this man chopping this car now. I mean, serious. Look, now, I don't know, you all drive, right? Steele and Agard, you all drive. Good morning to you all, by the way, right? Good morning. You know, sometimes you reversing or you think and somebody hit your car. How that is? I just feel that all in my head. Serious, and I tell him, we be pulling the car, so okay, fine. Now imagine you sign up and seeing somebody chopping your car. Something that you work hard for. That is not something to make a jail for, right? So you have to have real self-control to not respond to this.
And you come in my yard and chop up my car.
You understand?
But it would help to know what was the genesis of this dispute. Why is it that he is targeting this man
Like I said, it's
so violently? You know, there must be a reason, and I suppose involving the police is one way to get to the root of it and to hold persons accountable, which is why, you know, how we reach here. Because let's hope, as you say, God, let's hope that, you know, it doesn't escalate, because there might be somebody in the car he decide to chop up next.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And you know, like I said, we need to do our part to keep the crime rate down.
Yeah.
Now, Storm put up my microphone because, like I said, we couldn't get this to download. But if you hear it from the phone, you will still. I play it from my phone, right? Listen to this.
Imagine hearing this every day, all day, as a person living next door to where this activity is taking place. How are you dealing with that? Put yourself in the position of the person living next to this noise. What would you do?
Now, what you're hearing here is a sawmill in action. The man who filmed this, his mother is with him. And she's sick. As a matter of fact, she had to go to the hospital a few times. She has a lung infection, breathing disorders. He too made several reports to the police. And there's no solution to this. He went across to talk to the officer, law enforcement officer, and like I said, it's only because I want to protect your unit and the name of your unit why I'm not identifying you this morning. But I am calling on the police because I am seeing it. I'm seeing the response to this. One day, this young man will be tired of seeing his mother suffer, and he will go across, either with a gun or a cutlass, because he tried the normal way first, and you all beat him up. So he had to take his licks in front of his mother and lick his wounds. Now, I am saying to you, one day, the anger is going to be out of control, and the officer may have a weapon, and then the story would be, in fear for his life, he shot the man.
But
Or
God,
the man might wait until his back turned and deal with him.
right. But
Which
God,
one do you want?
I think the police, again, could have been a mediator in this matter, not just for the complaint about the noise and the disruption of quality of life. But if the man went there to talk to the guy, try to reason with him, and he was assaulted, then that is a matter for the police as well, isn't it? So how
Right.
come? Why didn't the police intervene at that point?
Right. And some resident now tell me it's not a sawmill, it's a woodwork shop. Same thing.
Exactly.
It's a saw cutting
Same
wood.
process. Same thing. Same thing.
He not using hammer and chisel, he's not pounding you here. It's a saw.
Correct.
Whole day. Now, again, I'm calling on the Sangre Grande police.
Or the Sangre
community
Grande
police.
Regional Corporation, because there must be regulations as to what kind of enterprise can go on in a residential community.
Right.
You cannot just set up a garage or a woodworking shop or any kind of business that causes disruption that causes this kind of disruption to people's lives in a residential neighborhood, because you see, I have to talk louder for people to hear me. You can't sleep. You can't watch TV. You can't have a conversation with somebody in your own house with this noise going on. This could send you mad. This could send you mad. This could send you mad. And I completely understand the frustration of the man and his mother and having to endure this and not getting any help. Not from the community, not from the police, not from the corporation, not from anybody. He had to rely on Facebook to get his story out there. And that is unacceptable.
Ladies and gentlemen, whether who right or who wrong, who was there first or who came second, the thing is, this is not going to end well. And we are calling on the authorities to intervene, do some prevention, so that we can stop something from happening really bad.
Yep.
This is all we're asking. So we appeal on behalf of these two citizens this morning. Please intervene here.
Before somebody else's father have to end up in jail.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Or 6 feet under, as the case might be.
Mr. Agard, good morning.
President, good morning to you, Gart, Natasha.
Mr. Steele, morning.
President, good morning to the entire Trinidad and Tobago. We'd like to say a special Happy Father's Day. And I know you're bigging up to the wayward fathers, but to the ones that deserve it, the hard-working fathers, the ones that we're really representing. They're not just carrying the title, right? It's not just a sperm donor, as they say, right? You're really, really standing there. We want to say Happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah. And of course, we want to say good morning to the Acting Commissioner of Prisons. You all know is Mr. Carlos Carraspi and his executives. Yes. We want to say good morning to Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service, all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to each and every one. Now, as we saw the father before in that video, well, we assume that he's a father, yeah? Mm-hmm. Someone was asking the question, why are our youths so angry?
Yeah.
But now we had asked ourselves why are adults so angry, because that was pure anger. So you're saying that we have absolutely no self-control. We don't know the consequences of our actions. As Marlon Lee is here this morning, he can talk a lot on that. And sometimes we have to take heed in the things that we do. Something like that happened. Yes, we don't know what caused it, but sometimes you have to look back and say, here, what now? This could have happened because you're there with is it a blade? And you are just destroying somebody's vehicle. What if that person decided to hear what now? Didn't use self-control and we decided to get ourselves in an argument? Yeah. Somebody's life could have been lost there. Yeah. And that is the sad part about it. Even with the videos with the neighbors. I mean, sometimes people do work at home, yeah? We have to be within reason, meaning that if you're doing some construction home, there's a time frame for that.
Yes.
Especially if you have neighbors. It is to come home from work after a hard day's work, and you hear this in your ear all 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the night.
Everything
is to
in your
anybody.
house coated with dust.
Yes. So at least try to do it within reason, meaning that do it in the morning time, because yes, you're getting, let's say you were doing something construction home, because we all do construction home. Yes. And sometimes even when I'm home and I'm hearing that noise, I'm like, oh my God, when it is going to stop? So we have to again do things within reason, than rather when someone comes to confront you, we reach to a fight. And again, neighbors now, they don't just come and talk. There's always leads to somebody going to fight somebody pulling a blade and accidentally stab someone, somebody pulling out a firearm and accidentally shooting someone, and they don't know with those choices how they can end up behind bars. And all the process, meaning you have to wait X amount of years before you hear a case. The case is being heard. Yes. So let's be wise. Let's think about what we are doing.
Thank you. I'm going to give you one of our 1,000 jail stories. Spoke to a lifer once. Said, Daddy, you look like a real cool. You know what you do to come in prison? 40 years later, right? He said that he's a security officer. He work a night shift. He said he came home, the wife and the neighbor quarreling about a drain. Wow. He said he passed under the house and he walked up the step, sat down inside. So the wife now realizing now, my husband come home and he tell him man nothing. Run upstairs. Start and nag him. Right. You see the man cussing me and you tell him man nothing. So he got up, he picked up the cutlass on the side of the stove, went downstairs, chopped the man on the neck, one chop, came back upstairs and said satisfied, and he sat down there and waited until the police come.
Oh my God.
40 years later.
40 years
my
later.
God.
So you painting, the neighbor paint your wall. Thank God Natasha is not chain up wife. Say Nagat. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
I was all for, peace. Just if she want to paint the wall, there's a wall. Yeah. Like it's not affected our quality of life. But she didn't have to get on. So.
And just a little add to spin it. She was remarried 2 years later.
You see what I mean?
Oh Lord.
You see? And he in prison.
And then what example are we setting as, for fathers letting their children see that? So let's say, as I said, he's a father and his son is seeing him doing that, then it's okay for me to get on in school too. It's okay for me to beat up children because here what I'm living by example. What my father is doing, I'm going to do the same thing. Come on.
That's the way to solve problem.
Yes.
Right? And I can't wait for us to start chatting with Marlon. So Marlon Lee is here with us, folks, 23 trillion.
And I really, as I was telling you, Garth, I want him to name all of these children.
Wow.
Because
I know he has a list there, right?
You see, he had to write it down. I
was thinking, if some company could do an ad with Marlon for condoms. You gonna make real money because like a bus pull up and you let your child go out first, and then when you ready to go on now, the bus conductor say, "Nice day, wait for the next bus." and when you start to call, just strap a condom for you. And then you just hold it up and say, "Trojan." We can laugh about it, but that story you just gave us is a perfect example.
For real.
Of men taking chain up or trying to impress women or their wives or their girlfriends and not saying, oh God, forget that now, your ego. If my wife chaining me up to go and fight a man, I tell you, well, you go and do it now again in the clubs.
Well, exactly.
You go
I
ahead,
mean,
look at stick, they take it up and go, I go watch. Somebody have to live to tell the story.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's sad. It's really
but then
sad.
again, she may have been telling the man to just wait until my husband come home.
Yeah.
You go see something.
Yeah.
And then it
stupid
didn't
man.
happen. So she was like, but I can't, ego again. I guess ego was
stupid man
dented.
take that chain up. Marlon Lee, good morning.
Good morning, God. Good morning. Good morning, Natasha.
Morning.
Accompanied by my uncle and my aunt, Mr. Steele and Miss Agard. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Happy Father's Day to each and every one. And may the blessings of God be with you. And even to the females that have to play both roles.
Yes.
Yeah, big up to you too as well, because we know we have some mothers, fathers as well. The absent father syndrome is a very serious situation in Trinidad and Tobago in the youth's lives.
Absolutely.
The absent father syndrome.
So Marlon, let's start with this easy part first. You've been on remand for 15 years, right?
Yes, sir.
So which means, explain to the audience what that means, who don't understand.
Being incarcerated for 15 years is a very frustrating situation and circumstances. But you are not to allow yourself to get depressed, because depressed is the most dangerous part of frustration. So you find yourself engaging in things that would ease the frustration, because it's not easy to be in the same place for 15 years, same routine every day, and have to comply and do things that probably you don't want to, but it is best for you to, in order for your stay to be the way you will want it to be. Because we all hear all kind of things about crime in the country, and crime is a business, and all different kind of things we would hear in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. But what sparks me a lot is patience, endurance.
No, before we go to that, when I ask the question, what it means as well that you're still waiting on a day to go to court.
Yes, I'm awaiting.
Have you ever been? Was it few and far between? How many times have you faced a magistrate or judge?
On arrest and charge, my first appearance to the magistrate took 6.5 years before the case could have started.
Right.
In the magistrate.
Right.
And then it takes 7 years and more to get a high court date. Yeah, it was more, we say 15. We say 15 because what they try to tell us is that, when you start to go to court, you don't check that because you get a court date, but every day is a day.
Right.
Every day is a day away from home.
And they have a number of men too. What's the average time of some men on remand together with you?
Well, the most time that there is 21 years. There's a guy there 21 years.
On remand?
On remand. 21 years on remand.
Bon Dieu, Lord.
So when I check my 15, I say, listen to me. He give me strength.
21 years?
Yeah, he give me strength. Then we have another is 19, and we have others is 18. And we have others is 17. And God, what is heart-rending, Natasha, is that we facing the court while it's on remand and nothing still is being done. The state always seems to want time. And I am saying, whilst I respect the judiciary because they have their work to do, whilst you are giving the state all this time, what about my time? Languishing. I am always ready. We are always ready. And one thing I always tell inmates is that once you have a case before the court, you are ready to start your case. Because it's your case. So you are ready to start your case. But the state is never ready for you to start your case.
With regard to constitutional reform, now, Dependency as an NGO have submitted suggestions for during the constitutional reform discussion. And Mr. Gordon Husbands, morning to you, Mr. Husbands, made some suggestions and directed us to an article, I think it's 87, that speaks to the president intervening in the life of a person. And this, I think, for convicted people. But also, we suggested that if you arrest and charge someone and you have them on remand, if after 5 years, the police officer or whoever cannot come up with tangible evidence to convict you, then send the person home.
Correct.
Why are you keeping someone at the state's pleasure? And Mr. Alwari told us how expensive it was to take care of a person's daily needs in prison. Daily, what the cost was. It's an astronomical amount.
Yes, sir. Yes. But very ironic for you to say that, God, because I do a lot of studies with court and judiciaries and stuff like that. 'Cause I was once one of the team members of the Remand Elites debate team.
Right.
And a lot of debates would have come up. And in studying in places such as Venezuela, after 44 days, if there is no evidence or anything required to have you stay in prison, they let you go. But in Trinidad and Tobago, they arrest and then look for evidence. They don't look for evidence. One of my questions over the past 15 years, and respect to the Director of Public Prosecution and his office, is what are the criterias used in charging somebody in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago? Because if I can remember very well, I was charged after 11 at night. And nobody left the station to go down to the DPP with a file. A telephone call was made. And I am charged now 15 years languishing, waiting for my day in court to prove my innocence. So the question lies, how do we go about charging persons? And subsequent to that, one of the observances I have made, Natasha, also is that you arrest a person. And the person decides immediately, he or she decides to take accountability and responsibility for the action and say, I am guilty immediately. You are saying to them, they cannot plead guilty right now. But 15 years after, you're coming to tell me you want a guilty plea, you want a MSI? It's the same crime, the crime ain't change. It's the same crime you charged me for since 2009. That I said I wanted to plead guilty. Okay, I take accountability for it. And yes, so and so happened. And I'm pleading. No, you cannot do that. Why? That would have saved court's time, saved taxpayers' money, help you to still be with your family and everything. But they tell you cannot plead guilty. You have to be remanded. And 15 years has passed, 18 years has passed, 20 years has passed.
That seems that doesn't make any sense.
So
I wonder if it's based on the nature of the charge itself, that you cannot plead guilty for that particular charge before you. I don't know.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Marlon Lee, accompanied by Steele and Agard, who are from Rise Maximum Radio. Are no strangers to Dependency. Conrad is under the weather, so Marlon is sitting in for both of them, and Marlon just explaining how, what it's like. He just told us that there's someone on remand for the last 21 years. And I've said it before, how many productive citizens, okay, for instance, if Wayne Chan stayed on remand for that amount of time, we wouldn't have had a vision on mission. Follow me here. If I had stayed on remand for that length of time, we would not have had an independency. So which means that there are some men and women who can leave prison, leave that behind, and start a productive life and contribute to society. How many of people are we preventing from doing that right now?
Especially if they've admitted guilt. I mean, to me, that makes that should make the trial process, the wheels of justice, turn even faster, if the person has admitted guilt.
And God, if I may just add to what you said, you are still saying contribute to society. What about contributing whilst there?
Yeah.
What about contributing whilst incarcerated? You are still giving back because you are helping persons on remand to become better persons who leaving you and going and continuing to contribute.
Right. So you've seen a lot of men come and go.
Yes, I see a lot of men come and they go. Some don't come back, and some come back because when they leave, there is nothing in place. Nothing in place. And this is why I applaud Mr. Steele and Ms. Agard and Program and Industries and the executives, because they allow the persons that are positive within the remand, although languishing, they give them something to hold on to.
They're doing a here. Let me say this to the prison, and I want Trinidad and Tobago to understand this. Again, as Ms. Agard pointed out, Mr. Carlos Carraspi is now sitting in the chair. We thank Mr. Ramuta for his time and your service, and we welcome Mr. Carraspi. Now, Mr. Carraspi and Mr. Bruce, his second in command, has the unenviable task of keeping people under their care calm and especially on remand.
Of course.
Yes.
You know, that you will have a lot of angry people. Mind you, there are innocent people too there.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Trust me, because we have an attitude in society that once you go to prison, you're guilty,
You're guilty.
right? We have innocent people in prison. So imagine that anger that builds up every day. Marlon, you might be able to keep a man calm for a day, 2 days, 3 days, but then if he don't get a visit within a month, what you have to do then? If an officer tell him anything, so which means we have to protect the lives of the officers too. You have to care about them too. Okay, we hate prisoners, or they go to jail, and we always talking about prisoners alone, and we don't talk about the victims. Like Mr. Winston Peters called me yesterday and asked me that question, and he don't put no water in his mouth to talk. And I agreed with him, but I told him also that we've offered victims of crime to come forward and say how they feel. Mr. Karaspi himself did a program called the Sycamore Tree.
Sycamore Tree, yes.
Right.
Yes, yes.
By bringing prisoners and offenders together
Yes,
to have them. But I'm saying this, we have to think of the lives of the officers too. And when the officers on remand, especially, once you're convicted, you know when you're going home, right?
Of course.
You have a date, yes.
They have a day for home.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, and that brings to mind, as you said, the envy task that the prison has. Because some persons in society are not too pleased with inmates that would have been charged for an alleged crime, coming outside to do things. They will say, look, a big criminal like him, they bring him out and he killed this one and he did it. But they don't understand we are innocent until proven guilty.
Thank you.
We only feel the pain when it hits home. When their children or their husband get locked up, then they want the whole world to come down and help him. But when strangers do it, they tend to judge them. And I try to teach the inmates, don't take on that. Because the prison is doing a very strategic work. I must say, from 2009 to now, Mr. Agard, Ms. Natasha, I can say I've been working program and industries until this very day, thank God. And it has helped me, and it has helped me to help a lot others who arrogant, who ignorant, who have the egocentric behaviors. There's gang members and they can't be in this and they can't be in that and they can't do this and they bad man place. There's no place called a bad man place. There's a bad man's intention. No place is a bad man place. Any place that a person is at, he can do two things for himself. He can build himself or he can allow himself to be broken down. And the broken part is a no option for me. Because it's breaking down is what have you in the place. So if I have already broken down and I'm in this place, I have now to rewrite my script and rebuild. We have to rebuild. If we don't rebuild, what we now see on that video there, that is so very sad. As Mr. Agard say, it's not the youths need help again, it's everybody need help. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs the help. And I am saying this, some people say, Marlon, you love jail. Okay, if that is a term, yes it is. But it has done a lot for me. It helps me to realize a lot of things, accept things. And that is one of the greatest things prison's supposed to do for you. Help you to accept. Acceptance is the key.
And if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Marlon Lee, who is on remand now for the past 15 years, father of 23. After this break, when we return, we're going to hear about that. And Marlon will tell us and give his words of advice to fathers out there, or explain to them what it's like being away from your children on special days, birthdays, graduations, Christmas Day, and all of that. But Ms. Agard, as a female, and you've dealt with the female prison, how does it touch you when every time you jump in your car to go home, you leave people in prison knowing that some of them don't know what the future holds?
It would be, for Christmas time, especially for Christmas time. And then you will see the faces. And I remember for Christmas time, of course, you're playing all the, Christmas music and stuff. And when we played on Christmas in the radio station, we celebrating. And then, somebody came to me and said, Miss Agard, you know what? I don't mind the Christmas music, but when you play that so much time and talk about, all the different things that takes place for Christmas, it brings a sad a sadness to them because they are not outside, but they are incarcerated. And every time you jump out and you're going home, they are going back to one place, back into a cell. So for certain occasions, especially for Mother's Day, Christmas time, even Father's Day, it's a kind of sad moment for a lot of them. And going out and knowing that they are there, we try, I always say we try our utmost best to kind of, cheer them up a bit. I will always talk to them and say, here, what, freedom is a must. Hold the faith. When you get the opportunity to see your family and talk to your family, let them know that you love them a lot. And the prison has been doing a lot, meaning with virtual visits. There are a lot of virtual visits that they are afforded now that they can actually speak to their family. So to bring that time, Christmas time and Mother's Day and Father's Day, they get that opportunity to at least see their family and be able to converse with them.
Right.
But it is a difficult situation.
Steele?
Yesterday we was in our Father's Day program, and we had a Father's Day picnic yesterday at the Golden Grove. And I saw, from the time the child came in, the father was waiting at the table. He stand up, and the child take off with her speed, and she run from the door straight to the father.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? And hold on to the father for that whole visit. It was 2 hours. You're allowed to bring your home cooked meal. They sit down together, the wife and the 3 children. The sons, they sit down with the father and they're talking. The little girl, she hold on to that father. When time to leave, we said, all right, it's 5 minutes to go. Hug your father, tell him you love him, happy Father's Day, or they greet one another. You'll be leaving in 5 minutes. That child started to cry. They had to allow the father to walk to the bus, to put the child on the bus, because the child started to cry. You understand? Now I watching wrong and I watching Officers. I started watching up in the ceiling. You understand? I started taking my shoes because, we had to stay firm. Right? And to me, I said, this is things that fathers have to know. This is opportunity. I don't know. You're going into a life of crime. Think about the people that you're leaving behind. You understand? You have kids. We dealing with Father's Day today. But you have kids. So that should tell me here what's going on. Still, don't go down that road. Because if you're going to prison, these is the kids you're leaving outside, unattended.
Oh,
yes.
You understand?
I know where you're coming from.
So, to me, don't gamble. Don't gamble on your children's life. Because when that father came back from the bus, all the gangster partners are wrong, and I totally read. And he just walked straight, tie up his bag, and he sat down. You understand? I see a few officers went and talked to him, and I couldn't go. You understand? I sat there and I say, this should be an example for people to know. Don't do crime, it don't worth it. You understand? These moments, you can't get back. You leave your daughter home 1 year. And that attachment between that father and that daughter really said a lot yesterday.
Yes.
Being a father means taking an active role in our children's lives. This includes reading bedtime stories, being there for the events and sports games, helping with homework, providing counsel during difficult times, and generally being available as a positive influence and source of stability. It also means being honest, genuine, and vulnerable about the mistakes we've made and what we learned from them. Our children don't need a monument to revere. They need a father who's real about who he is and who he's becoming.
You're listening to Dependency. We have Officers Steele and Agard with us, and we also have Marlon Lee with us. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to hear from Marlon a little more about how it affects him as a father being away for 15 Father's Days, and birthdays and Christmas and all of that. Yes, the prison doing their best to ease some of that strain, but then when they leave, they leave. That's the part, And of course, we also have to look at the victims and who have lost, especially their breadwinner.
Yes.
And we have a suggestion for that too. We've always said that. Before we go to this break, here's my suggestion. And some people say they won't take the money, but my thing is, if I decide to take someone's life, especially the guy we just saw in the video there with the cutlass, if somebody stepped in the video and he took his life, well then, instead of hanging him, which I think is the easiest way out, Send him to prison, let him work. Give them work to do. And we open a fund or an account somewhere. Every month, the money goes to that account and it goes to the family. Because as Mr. Peters explained to me yesterday, Winston Peters, that is. And you know, once you put it like that, it's easy to understand. Before the father died, maybe he would have had a child just about to start university or start university. He was the sole breadwinner. Because he passed away, the child now has to drop out of school, and because the mother cannot afford to continue paying for the university, and you know university is expensive. So what do? I say instead of having someone sit on death row doing nothing or hanging them, why not let them work? Get factories in there, get whatever, get them to do. You all can figure it out. And he getting a salary every month of $4,000 or $5,000 or how every cent goes to the individual and the family. You don't have to give them directly, put it into the account. The state transfers the money to the mother's or next of kin's account. And they could continue at least having some help. This person must be made to work for what and pay the price for what they've done.
It would be interesting to hear what victims and their families, what they would make of that suggestion. It sounds reasonable to me, but I think a lot of the time, because of the kind of hurt and trauma that family experienced, they find it very difficult to move out of the headspace of vengeance.
Yeah, I know. I don't want no money from he.
Exactly.
You know, but you
so
know what?
That is a journey in and of itself. So, you know, and it needs to be treated separate and apart from the incarcerated.
So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Marlon, Steele and Agard right here on Dependency. Stay right there.
Give me my phone. What you doing taking them kind of pictures? I'll tell mommy. And I'll tell her you invaded my privacy. Privacy? When you send those pics, you lose all privacy. It's like setting up a billboard with your naked pics for the world to see.
Those pictures are for my boyfriend's eyes only, and he'll never do that to me.
Yes, he can, or one of his friends or family, or someone can steal his phone. Sending naked pics can open you up to embarrassment for you, your family, and friends. You can be harassed by bullies. Your pics can be uploaded to websites and seen by everybody, even the wrong people, sex offenders. It can also affect you getting a good job in the future. Once those pictures go out, you can never get them back.
Okay, I'll tell my boyfriend delete them, and I'll delete these. I'm glad I have a smart little sister.
I'm still telling mommy.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the Counter-Trafficking Hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Ion Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Ion Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. Happy Father's Day to you. And thank you for joining us on I-95 and on our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Being a father means taking on an immense responsibility. It means committing to and nurturing a child to the best of our abilities and embodying a fatherly role that holds steady, endures, and exemplifies a committed pillar of love and support through all of life's ups and downs. At its core, being a father means demonstrating patience, empathy, understanding, and compassion. It entails a loving presence and the ability to create a secure, nurturing, and supportive environment for our children. This means going above and beyond to ensure our child's physical, emotional, and psychological needs are met, particularly as they grow and evolve. Marlon, how are you able to manage the immense responsibility of being a father to over 20 humans?
Well, Tasha, that is very simple for me to answer because I would have given to my children what I didn't have. So I know what it is at that time to be not knowing your father at the time. Right. No mother, no father, and you're growing up. But yet still, as I said to you before in my last sitting with you, the church would have saved me. Right. And the morals and the principles that the church would have instilled in you growing up, although you didn't get it physically from your mother and father, you still hold on to it. And just the other day I sat down and I said, my very first child, Victoria, Onisha Victoria, I am saying, it was a child making a child. Yeah? No direction, nobody telling nothing, but at that time you just feel like he's a macho man. You're big and you dance.
You're a man
not
now.
knowing
Now
the responsibilities that really come with it. But it came and I was happy, and then I started to get need because the person was older than I am, much older than I am. And she would have taught me father figure attitudes. Although she knows she made a mistake. Well, back then, in those days, they didn't have things like you go in the station and say a woman rape you. They're laughing at you. You know how that has go.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it was wrong, but out of it cometh good. And I learned from school days father figure attitudes. How to be a father. On our weekends, when school is over, I walk in a child, taking son, changing diapers, changing pampers. And I start to grow. And I grow and I grow and I grow. And in growing, I start to understand what I needed for myself that I didn't get. So I had now to present this to these children growing up, and it mounted up to 23 up to this very day.
Yes.
Yes? But, and within the 23, 3 died, and I am at 20 now, and I am still grieving because they died whilst I was incarcerated. Right. Yeah?
How did they die?
One was mistakenly shot by the police. One died on the highway by accident, and the other was shot innocently just last year. Wow. Yeah, and it bothered me as a father because I had my children. Most of my children were with me. I was like mother and father to some because I made some wrong choices too with who I went with, but nevertheless, that's on me. But the child didn't suffer because of that. And most of my children now are doing very well, even whilst incarcerated, again, I will boast of the prison at all times, for the family bond and the union I keep with my children especially. You know, there was this one child I had, when I come in prison, she was about to graduate. And she cried, God. And she said, Daddy, what you could do for me? I said, okay, I'll get a limousine for you. Yeah, your nice dress. I'll get somebody to go with you and everything. And she went. And after the graduation and coming home, she got raped by 3 men. She got raped by 3 men. And after a thing, and I got to find out, you know, I asked for visits with her. The then commissioner organized, we sat down, we talked. And a few months after, she called somebody that she knew in the prison and talked with them. And next thing I know, I had a visit. And on that visit was the time that I was ready to give up. She came back to me with HIV after the rape. You know, and that kind of wanted to really destroy me. It really wanted to destroy me. And her words was, Daddy, I want to tell you something. I said, what is that? She said, you're failing me. Tasha, that was it. That was it right there. But God moved so good that one of the guys who was involved in rape came into the prison.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, he came into the prison.
How you dealt with that?
And I was working in the center in the Golden Grove that time, and you know, sitting down there asking him his name, what he charged for, and well, I would have been abreast of it already, you know. But in that type of work with the prison officer, you can't take the law into your own hands. You have to still show respect to the order of the prison officer you're working with and whatnot. And he said to me, excuse me, since Thursday I lock up and they really beat me in the station. I said, well, why they beating you? He said, because I rape. I said, what happened to you? I have no boxers, I have no toothpaste, I have no toothbrush, I have nothing. I said, hold on. And I went inside my cell, and I always have stuff, and I pack a bag and I bring it for him. And that guy never knew I was the father of that child till 6 months after. I brought him to church. And I got all kind of advices. I'm talking father figure. I am already in prison. I am seeking to get out of prison to be with my children. And there were peer pressure for me to do that man something. And if I had done that, I would have never come out of prison because you do in jail murder. You know? So father figure is not only for your family, but for yourself. The choices that you have to make, that you have to impart to your children.
So wait, hold on. So you were able to mix or live around this individual who you know was responsible for raping your daughter, infecting her as well, and you didn't lay a hand on him?
No, sir.
Wow.
Does your daughter know that
I commend you
he's
for that.
incarcerated and in the same place as you?
Yeah, yeah.
And what is her response to your...
Well, she was upset because she asked me, what is I do? I say, I ain't do anything. She said, I mean, you ain't do nothing. I say, what you want me to do? If I go to do something, would that take away your sickness? Would that erase what happened that night? And I talk with her until it took her a while to really understood, but she did understand. And he came and he got his jail, and he went back out to do the same thing, and somebody else did what I was supposed to do.
Serious?
Yeah, somebody did what I was supposed to do. And that happened right on Duncan Street.
So he went back to his old ways?
His old ways.
Jail, prison didn't work for him, obviously?
No, prison didn't work.
How much time he did?
He did 3 years.
And went back out and committed the same act?
Committed the same act. And the other persons didn't deal with it as how I would have dealt with it.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
Fathers, one of the most important thing with fathers is that you have the first and foremost to see about yourself and your families. Even if the mother gone, you're not supposed to go. You know, I have a different theory. People that say, mothers sure, but fathers maybe. I just think father's supposed to be sure of himself. A father's supposed to be, I claim on my children. People say, that one is not yours, and that one is not yours, and sure. My children, every last one, Tasha. Every last one, from start to finish. And when I see them and I talk with them, they just say, Daddy, you know, when Mother's Day come, I just get cards for Mother's Day. I just get cards for Mother's Day from some of my children. And one of the things I learn about children, especially the boys, you see, because your children love the father. I could tell you about that. Your children love the daddy. But you see the boys? My boys really love me too, because when my boys excel in the academic, in sports, even if they do something, but I hug them, I kiss them on the forehead and say, well done. Guys say, me ain't doing that. I come here, man, thing. Your man hug up your son, kiss your son, you're going mad. Yeah. Bad man don't do that. And that is why There are no principles, morals, ethics, or values instilled in some of the children, and that is why they could afford to disrespect the fathers today and don't care about what the father think or how the father think. My children think what daddy would say. I have learned to be a carnal father and a spiritual father. I was just at a baptism in the prison of 10 men, again, who turned their life to Christ, who see me as a spiritual father, because it was instilled in me that father is not just dropping a tin of milk and dropping some money and that is it. What about a father who could deal with conflict management with children? Children fighting against each other, children envying each other, you know. I have children for many different mothers, and everybody lives in unity with respect for each other because of the principles I would have instilled in my fathership figure towards my children. I was even father to some of my wives. Children, mother, I will say. I was father to them because they didn't have a father. So they don't know even how to deal with things when things would have happened. And, you know, I want to mention Kimberly, if you hear me, I want to mention Kimberly. Kimberly is in her 30s. And Kimberly would have seen about herself, you know, hygiene, and get her ingrained here around her private place. And she would, Daddy, how to take out this? I say, you have a husband, girl, you're married? Leave me alone. She said, no. What to do, how to do it? That is because you see how you grow with your children.
Yeah.
You know, they still have this love and this respect and this care for me.
So even though you're in prison, and if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and you're hearing from Marlon Lee, who is on remand for the past 15 plus years and awaiting his day in court. And of course, Steele and Agard is here with us. But even though you're in prison, your children still depend on you, still show you that respect, and they still listen, feed on your word and so on.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that as well in terms of the stigma of having a father who is in prison, because you know there's a stigma associated with that.
Yeah, there's a stigma associated. One of my daughter did she's going to Bishop Annecy High School. She did a paper on me. And she stood up in school and she said, I don't care, that is my father. He's incarcerated, yes, but my father is not a criminal. Because if my father was a criminal, my father couldn't come back outside and preaching and doing funerals and singing and still giving words of consolation and words of advice. She say, my father went there to do what God wanted him to do. You understand? And I used to study with her. Sometimes Mr. Wilson, past commissioner, would have helped me to get some of the weekend visits, and my weekend visits was school with my children. Just sit down and do schooling with them, do some work with them. You know, so the fathers of the prison are begging, I am appealing, and I am admonishing the guys to not just see them as prison officers, see them as fathers. They help a lot. And I can say with bold assurance, I am proud of the father that I am. That my children could still function, they could still work in the principles. Whenever we have something in prison, they just come. They're always ready to come and sing, they're ready to preach, they're always ready to come and read with the men, talk with. Just go on there Thursday, we have baptism. And one of my daughters was there and she was talking to the men, and they were saying, she really educated in the Bible, and how did us take it to know you incarcerated? It's not about I being incarcerated, it's about what I instill in them. And what you instill in somebody, they would never forget. Once, even though in prison, I am still setting my same examples as I set outside. Respect, morals, values, principles for yourself and for others. And I will say to everybody that is incarcerated, I am like, sometimes my heart just goes out to AD, Andrew Douglas, because him and I had the same experience of losing a son while he's incarcerated. And it's only because of God's will and power in our lives we forgive. Even my son who died, I met the killer in the prison. Just the other day, I was telling Mr. Steele about it. And he was afraid, and he said, what are you worried about? What you so worried about? God, I charge too. Nobody will kill me. You charge. You before the court, I before the court. God will deal with that. And persons just call me chicken and coward, but I done in prison, God. I don't want to come back to prison.
Yeah, and you know, it's so weird that even while you're in there, men chaining you up, as we say, to to do what, boy, bump to you, boy, you're soft heart, and not understanding, boy, you in jail too, boy, would you in prison with me too, boy, you encourage me to commit more crime while here, you know, it makes no sense. But again, that's part of the prison culture, because I was saying to someone that if you go to prison for molesting a child, I mean, in some jurisdictions, you bet your life a welcoming party waiting for you.
Yes, a welcome party is waiting for you.
Yeah.
The party is waiting for you. And that is the culture. That is the culture of the prison. But when you do introspection, God, for yourself, because I always say this, what I want for me, I want for you. And what I do not want for myself, I do not want for you. So if it is I come because I am charged for somebody's daughter, for somebody's mother, I am charged for it. It doesn't mean I did it, but I'm charged. And persons could put in their mind, all right, there's a set of woman killers. As you're rich, let me deal with it. Nobody didn't deal with me because I came for I always say this to Mr. Steele. I say, Mr. Steele, I came in prison for a purpose. I can't tell God what avenue to use to send me, but I came for a purpose, and I am going to continue fulfilling that purpose until God say, good, work well done, your reward is here.
Right. I admire that, Marlon. I hope God ain't come wrong me with that, nah?
No, what he did, because you are here with me, and still you are here. So I think he established that work in you, and you didn't even know.
Yeah, I hope I make him smile by saying that. But because I too, when I was in prison, when I left, I decided I'm not coming back, and I am going to change my life. The thing is, there was such difficulty in reintegrating and having people understand. Remember, in Trinidad and Tobago, there is not a policy. There are the people who like you, there are the people who will support you, and there are people who will shut the doors in your face without even thinking, you know. And I have seen it. I made myself an experimental reintegration in Trinidad and Tobago, and a lot of people failed me. A lot. And it's because of every time I think about them bars and them cells and the climate now, prison and air condition now, not me. I couldn't. You see Christmas, this looked like a well-done steak when he come out of prison the other night, because he couldn't understand how you all doing this for years. You know, and Christmas spent 4 days in prison, and Christmas nearly there, yes. If you see him walking out there, I see like, Lord, what I come here for?
God, you saying that there, and for Carnival Village, when we went down there, I met one of my daughters there, and she asked me a question. She said, Daddy, I want you to explain something to me. I said, I can't talk to you too long, and we have rules. She said, yes, but say this to me fast. How a person could sit down in filth so long that it lost its scent? I couldn't answer. At the time, really, I couldn't. She catch me off guard because I was singing Calypso, so I was in that kind of frame of mind.
Is there even a response to that?
I went back and I lie down and I beat and I say, how could somebody sit down and filth so long that it lost its scent? And up to now, I still couldn't answer it. I couldn't answer it.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Marlon Lee. We have Steele and Agard. Steele, you want to interject here? Miss Agard?
No, one thing I can say is that programs has always afforded Marlon Lee the opportunity to share. Because, he is it on a Tuesday that you have service?
Yes, on a Thursday.
At MSP, and I think when you were across at Golden Grove as well,
yes,
you conducted a service. Yes. And Marlon is like an example, as he said, he's like a father figure. So he's always there to encourage the ones that are, because you are incarcerated, your freedom is taken away, you're not seeing your family, you get depressed, you get frustrated, you get angry. But Marlon is always there to encourage. So anyone that he gets to see in his way, every single day, he's always there talking to them. So the radio station as well, we allow Marlon to come on a Friday morning from 8 to 10 to do a service as well. And the service is well received, yes.
Nice.
So he's always an example, as many others. But Marlon Lee, ever since I've always been a great example to a lot of people inside prison.
Yeah, and we've shown videos with Marlon officiating at different services and so on. And you talk about power.
Yeah,
I love him. I love to see it. I really love to see
Power
it.
is one, but he has a dress code as well. I don't know
Yes.
who just sew these clothes for him,
Yeah,
but my goodness. When he step out there,
Yeah, and if you go on YouTube, folks, and we advise that you visit Rise Maximum Radio, and of course, if you want to go Prison Service on YouTube, and you will see Marlon at some point in one of those videos, talk about power, man. I just love to the vibe that emanates from him when he's officiating at these functions. And as you said, God probably wanted you in prison to see how many lives you could save from in there. And but has there anyone ever came back to visit you after they left prison just out of gratitude for what you have done for them?
Well, God, ironic you asked me that. One person came back, and it was a blind man in Port of Spain.
Okay.
I went to Port of Spain to do the Spirit of Baptist program, and I was upstairs in the infirmary, and with a man named Mr. Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And he was blind, and I used to help him go to the bathroom. Well, he let him out there, work with him, read with him, pray with him, talk with him, and he had nowhere to go after. And I said, Charles, I will put things in place for you. And I did such. And when he was leaving the prison, the person went and picked him up, and he's living there. And just so I in the yard, and they said, Marlon Lee visit. I said, visit? I don't nobody coming to visit me on a Wednesday. My visitors be Monday or Friday. I said, okay, and I go outside. Charles. He came back to say thanks.
Wow.
I break down in the visit room because he didn't come with a visit bag. He didn't come with nothing. He come to say thanks. And I came down the road, and when I had church the next day, that church was on fire because I even started saying, where are the 9? Where are the 9? One man come to worship, where are the 9? Because 10 came and get healed, but only one came back and said thanks. And that was the mantra for the church for the day.
Yes.
Where are the 9? One man came to worship, where are the 9? And he came back and said thanks. But I don't look for thanks in words or utterances or things like that. What I look for thanks in, Kurt came. Kurt was underneath me in prison. He was in prison for 12 years. He get a retrial. He spent 5 years. We made cell. He came out. He baptized. He ordained minister. He get company. He get house. He get car. He get everything, and he continued working. And I spoke with him through the virtual, because it was the COVID, the Thursday. And he said, Marlon, I had a dream with you last night. I said, well, I'm good. He said, gain date Friday. I said, you always dreaming. You get it eat? Friday morning, I got date. Saturday evening, he got attack and died.
Wow.
And that bothered me too, and I asked the commissioner, he said, well, die in your family and whatnot and whatnot. But thank God for character, behavior, and positivity. I still get a chance to at least go and view. And, so yes, as Ms. Agard would say, I always try to reach everybody. Right now I'm doing conflict management on my wing between officers and inmates. Conflict management, knowing that these people have lives too. So you have to understand we could do it better than how we think we're doing it. And it's working out thus far, and I know with the Deputy Commissioner inside, I've known him for years. We worked together for years. I trust with the theme at Rise Maximum Radio, with programs and industries and officers, we will accomplish what we desire for the betterment.
Marlon, I want to ask about the men, the fathers who, perhaps like Garth, who does not really celebrate Father's Day, who may have acknowledged that he didn't do a good job in terms of being a parent. How does that affect men who are in prison now, trying to come to terms with that? Probably they don't get any visits from their children. How would you counsel or speak to somebody like that?
Well, yesterday evening, while sitting in the corridor, we was having conversations like that. Persons having children and they played no role in their life, and Father's Day coming up and they're not getting no visit and stuff. And I will say to them, don't give up. There's always hope.
Yeah, but you're talking to God too, huh?
Yes, there's always hope. There's always a hope. Sometimes we think we fail. You understand? Because, 23 to 1 or 2 might feel I show more love to 1 or 2 and they might feel a kind of way. But we in fail. What we have to do is that we have to get the unadulterated knowledge of being a father. Because people view father in various ways. Okay, what about the fathers who could buy the car, buy the house, and the child in a depressive state and you're not there to hug up the child? What about the father who cannot buy all these things, but he there in every aspect of your life? You're following your boss, you he clean it. You have a headache, he put it on your chest. And so you see, people think that a father is just to make sure everything all right financially. Sometimes that is not it. Sometimes a child needs to hear, congratulations, I'm proud of you. Even if your child decides to be a garbage collector, hug him or her up and say, I am proud of you. The divine acceptance and love for your children is important. It is important. My child is my best friend. You know, I'll give you a joke. One time I'm talking to Natalia, that is one who's studying law right now. She's studying law. And I pick up a little young lady. She said, not me and you know, you feel you is the biggest ram in the country. I say, when they beating you, I snap and watch it. I wouldn't let them kill you, I say, I like this girl, but she's not spiritual. And my daughter said to me, let me tell you something. You stand on spiritual principles. And if we're following you and you're going to find somebody that is not spiritual principles, you are going to put a hedge between you and your children. And I get courage to, nice young thing, fresh meat, looking nice, all right. But I took my daughter's advice. And I thank God I did, because it would not have worked out for me. So, Pinky...
Is that about 25, Gerard?
So, to Kimberly, Pinky, Natalia, 1 and 2, Aisha, Wendy, Anastasia, Khalees, Kadian, and all my girl children, I thank God. I have a son, he ordained a bishop just the other day. He took up my portfolio out there.
Nice.
And I happy for him. And I have a next son doing dance in Cuba and Haiti. In my cultural thing, he is a capoeira dancer.
Right.
And he's doing well. And the girls who studying law and nursing, and my children in America who came down the other day, you know. I just thank God that I got it from God, because I tell you, early in life it had no direction. But as I grow, that's why I say it has to be in you. The Bible says, I don't want to stray too much from it, but the Bible says you have to seek truth in the inward part. And in the hidden part, God will make you to know wisdom. And as you grow, following in the precepts of God and Christ Jesus, you will get the wisdom of how to do things and how to make things happen. My name in Nigeria is Daddy, Uncle Marlon or Bishop Marlon. And I try to tell you guys, stop calling people monster. What happening the killer? No, that curses they put on person's lives.
Of course.
And it have fathers talking to the sons like that.
Yes.
The last Father's Day visit, I was sitting here and a guy sitting and his son come, he say, God, shooter, you looking, and you look like him like, you crazy?
That's a slang, eh?
You crazy? You watching your son to call him shooter?
Wow.
That's not a
That is
term of endearment.
madness. That is madness.
And you know, Steele and Agard, what the listener don't know, we had a father and son in prison who should have been here today, but on another occasion we'll have them in studio. You know, a father and son doing time together. Marlon, how many times you would have seen that?
It happened to me with one of my son named Joachim. He came into the prison, got a beat it. I give him a cuttle in his head.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I give him a cut. So the officer run down and say, somebody say, fight, fight, fight. So when the officer came down, he saw me. He said, I not fight. Like father and son. I ain't getting in that. He moved anyway. And when I done beat it, I bail it. It never come back in prison again.
No, but there are a few fathers and sons that are incarcerated as well, just like, you know, mothers and sons as well. No, there are a lot of fathers who neglect their children. We know this. They never, you know, took up the role as father figure. Some of them are incarcerated now. So what we do, we try, you know, we talk to them. Say, hey, what is never too late to reach out. You're incarcerated, that doesn't say anything. Probably this is your time now to step out and talk to your children. I remember a time we went, you know, we have the mentoring team. And I think it was somewhere down South Steele, if I'm not wrong. And while talking to children about, you know, the ills of the jail, being incarcerated and all these things, we saw a young girl started to cry. And then she came to us and she said, you know, my father is incarcerated. I've never met him, but I know, because, you know, my mom told me that he's incarcerated. And through that, they got a visit. And that child bought everything he could possibly think of. No, he never, as I said, paid that attention to acknowledge. I know, you know, well, ever give the mother anything.
Right.
But she came And she told her mom, she said, here what? I want to buy this, I want to buy that. They came with a lot of things through the visit to bring for her father. And they build that bond from there still now. So every time for Father's Day programs, so whenever he gets the opportunity, they are there to build that bond. So whatever he left out years back, because I think she's about 14 years old. And she was willing, she wanted to reach out to her father, despite he has been incarcerated. So that by itself shows a lot. So there's no excuse for fathers who are incarcerated to say, here, what, I wasn't a good father then, but here, what, try. Write a letter, see if you get a response. Try to make a phone call, see if you get a response. You have to somehow, because I think most of the times, a lot of youths now are going astray. And a lot of them because of not having a father figure around. So we would always advise them, when you get that opportunity, don't make no excuses. Write your children, try to contact them, and try to build a bond with them.
Because it's going to help you upon your release as well. Because if you cannot make those connections while you're incarcerated, when you get out, it's going to be 10 times more difficult. And you're going to need that support from your family to stay on your 2 feet. You know?
We did a program for Father's Day. And just while speaking, we threw out a talk that, you remember the first time your significant other call you and tell you you're about to be a father? What was your thought? Now, we just throw that not to really get no answer. You understand? You know, and some, you know, we get all kind of crazy answers. People meeting here and saying, right? One guy say, first thing he asks you show his minds, right?
Yes. Others, it was about Marlon, right? Expect that.
Others, you understand? And this one particular guy, he said that, he stopped. He say he freeze. You understand? She interpreted bad. You understand that? Like, you want no child? And he said, no. He said, I imagine myself being a protector for this boy or girl that I might get. He said, this person going to change my life forever. You understand? And it was to the moment that he said that, I said, okay, so when, you know, you hold a child for the first time, somebody promised that you made, right? Did you keep those promises? And he said one, you know, he said, you got a girl, and he said, I'll always be there for you. He said, yes, Mr. Steele, 3 years now I'm in prison. He said, but I still reach out every single opportunity I get. You understand? And he will always tell her, don't afraid to tell them your father in jail. You understand? He said, if they interfere with you, let them know your father in jail. And he going to go to the part and say, hey, listen, being there, you're not physical there. You understand? But reaching out to her, she know that, hey, despite my father is in prison, he can't be there with me. But in everything I do. So, visit, he said the first person run through that door. You understand? Christmas time, every time he tried to reach out, he says sometimes, me asking for nothing. No. I just asking how you're going. She'll say, oh God, Harry, I can't tell you everything. You understand what I'm telling you? He said, nah, don't hold back nothing. What I missed for the last 6 months, tell me. You understand? Don't study nothing, just talk. And we had a 15 minutes conversation, and I just showing you the power of people. So the example was, and I tell them, I say, for Mother's Day, we does not no seat. It'll be full. You understand? Father's Day, it'll be scanty. So all you know, we had to do more. We had to do more. You understand? Some of us, you understand, we missing the mark. But don't give up. Right? Put our best foot forward. As we say, God say, write a letter. You get an opportunity to get a visit. Don't study, but visit back. Study to ask each other, hey, how you going? You understand? Priceless.
But still, doesn't that reluctance on the part of some fathers to have that connection, does that stem too from the relationship with the child's mother?
I just tell them.
How does that impact on
I just tell them, you know, don't use that as an excuse. Don't use it as an excuse. Because we had a friend some years ago, and she was giving us an example about her father. So the mother told the child, your father walk out and gone. You understand? And he never turned back. And 10 years later, when she met the father, she wanted to ambush him, and he said, many times I came and your mother run me. You understand? And she remember the story where she see the fire truck pass. And she watching the fire truck. She know she father is a fire officer. And she watching the fire truck pass and she seen the man in front watching her and she saying, but like I know he. You understand? Never knew that was her father. And she said he had to love her from far because every time he come close. And I just still say, you know what? It might sound bad enough, but I standing up by the gate. She will cost me 1,000 times and I standing up by the gate. I had to see her. So I'm not using that as an excuse because of the mother, the woman to come around, I'm not coming around. You understand? I made a promise. So I coming. You understand? As I tell my daughter recently, sometimes as parents, you just make unpopular decisions. Right? You just be vexed. Because she at that teenage age now. She's giving some attitude. But you know what? I know the decision that I made is for the betterment of you. So I just waiting for daddy to call me and say, Daddy, you understand? Thanks,
right.
You understand?
Right. Yeah, of course.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and those of you who having problems on the Facebook feed, you can try us on YouTube, Dependency. And while you're there, please like and subscribe to the channel so that we can up these
we need some more likes on YouTube. We have 119 people logged on and we have 11 likes. We could do better than that.
And of course, we want you to catch up to the 8,000 followers we have on Facebook, so we have a long way to go. So we're going to take a break, and when we return, Marlon has to go through this list he has in front of him here.
Yes.
And and we're going to take some of your calls.
What names and ages, eh?
Right. You're listening.
Ah, boy. Feel like I'm going to buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here? Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the Counter-Trafficking Hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Ion Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Ion Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Wow. Marlon,
You just heard something off air that we will not reveal on air, but
yeah, but you say your father and grandfather, they have a history too of
multitude of children.
Yeah.
My
shall go forth and multiply.
Please, his name was Elias Bowen Hagyu, better known as Grandmaster Nuki. He used to live Point 410. He has 100 children. We just call him hundreds.
Oh.
Last one was called hundreds. Yeah, he died now, you know.
Grandmaster Nuki.
Yeah, because he's a lodgeman and a Orisha and a Kabbalist, and you know, he had own point. Anytime you go point, just say Nuki, and the whole point is Nuki.
What's he listening now?
Well, this is just I was sitting on last night when my brother told me about it. I said, let me sit down, and the 3 children that passed away, you know, I sat there and I said, you know, may they rest in peace. And the rest of my children that are alive, I pray for them every day, and Daddy will be home soon. So to those that are in Arima, God blessings, Wendy, Shaquille, and Natalia. Those that are in South, same. Those that are in America, those in Antigua and Canada, and the rest that is East-West Corridor. I thank God for each and every one of my children. Pinky, doing fine. You are following a path that can help you be in the discipline. Miguel, you need to step up. You are doing fine. Daddy loves you. And Joachim, continuing your good work. Shaquille, continuing your good work. Daniel, continuing your good work. And then we have McGill's that I don't put. Kimberly, good job. Daddy loves you. Keep on the spiritual realm. Continue. Wendy, you are doing fine. You are training your children in the way they're supposed to go. Natalia, I hope one day you would be a director of public prosecutions. I pray that you will aspire to that point. And Natalia Claxon Bay, good job building your house, doing fine. We do, and I love Natalia because I love Natalia ever since from small playing dolly house show. She used to build my own house, and she did that until now. She has her own house, and I thank God for what I have instilled in her. Kadian doing a great job studying law in America as well. I thank God for your mother, Stacey-Ann, who is supporting you and doing well. My other daughter, who just became a reverend last month and preaching the word of God in Boston, you're doing a great job. Continue doing that. Aisha, you're doing a wonderful job at the hospital. I thank God for everything that you all are doing. And I hope and trust that your mom are supporting you all, because I know they keep in contact with me. And I trust God. Sulin, you're doing fine. Eliana, I want to thank God for you, that underneath all the stress, you still pass for Bishop's honesty. I give you a round of applause for that. Yeah. You do excellent well in education, though your father never left you. You born whilst I was incarcerated, and we meet ever so often on visits and stuff like that. Candice, thanks for having me seeing her every time, because I know sometimes parents doesn't want to bring the children in the prison. Yeah. Some of the parents are very reluctant about doing that. Bring my child in no jail. But I thank all my children mother that I have seen each one of them and my grandchildren whilst incarcerated. And I'm saying that the daddy that you would have known then is totally a different daddy you will know now. Change is inevitable, and I thank God not for the situation, but for the opportunity in coming in a place where I had to accept, acknowledge, and do some introspection that the love I have for you then is even greater now. Even you all are big men and big women, married and settled down and have your own family, you will always be my popos and my darlings. And know that, don't be shamed, because I am not shamed, and I know you all are not shamed either. And to the fathers around the world, fathers incarcerated, fathers in the services, love your children, respect their mothers. Even if you move on, respect the woman that you made this child with. It is a replica of you and her, not her by herself or you by yourself. So sometimes, I had to deal with some stuff where to a married couple, and the lady don't want to deal with the child because the child is not hers. And I had to deal with that even as an inmate guard. Even as an inmate, I had to go out and do a mediation with that, because I have to explain to her, from the time you marry the man, you marry the child. And that we have to understand. There is nothing called your child and my child. Once a parent of one, you're a parent of all. You have to be very mindful of doing that in this era and generation. But the era that we would have grown up in, you're a father for the whole community. You're a mother for the whole community. And bad boys, gangsters, this is what you need to instill in your children's life. If you are absent and Uncle Marlon is around and correcting your child, do not say Uncle Marlon is not your father. He can't tell you what to do. Yes, Uncle Marlon could tell your child what to do because he is a father and you are absent and he wants to see your child doing the right thing, not to come and lie down in a cell with you.
622-3937. Let's take some calls before we wrap up. You just heard Marlon Lee, who is on remand for the past 15 years, father of 20 children now because 3 of them died. And, he's here talking to you fathers. What it's like, it's better to be outside, regardless of how easy the prison might make it for you or for them. It's better to be outside with your children rather than have them visit you incarcerated. And the video that we showed this morning is quite clear that somebody could end up in prison from one of these videos. Somebody could end up dead. And we're asking the Sangre Grande police and community police, please try and help out Mr. Ashmead Khan, because he could trip off one day and it could end really bad. We don't want that. Let us do some prevention. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Kat and Natasha.
Morning.
And to that guy, Marlon, oh God, make my throat raise, boy. Jesus Christ. Kat and Natasha, somebody going to give you all the Nobel Prize someday, don't worry.
You what?
Nobel Prize?
And I say fathers are the only person. Listen, I can never forget my father. I love him 300 times. People should lead by example. That's the only way you could get to be, to get it right from children. Lead by example. I always watch the duck. The mother doctors walk in front and the little doctors walk behind. She walking in front and she leading and them following. That's the only way we could get by, if you lead by example. My father led by example. Long time parents, they used to hug up children and things. But what he do and what he did was what made me a man. I always say that fathers can't do everything, right? They could do what they could do with the opportunity they have, right? But it's not what they do or what they didn't do, it's what they did to make them a father. And my father did what he could have done to make me a man. And the only person I think could make a boy a man is a father. The only person I think can make a girl a woman is a father, right? When you lead by example, they have to follow, and they will follow. And God and Natasha, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk on this television and this phone this morning. And God, happy Father's Day. And Natasha, God bless you and take care of yourself. Bye now.
All right, thank you very much.
Happy Father's Day
thank
to
you.
you too,
Happy
sir.
Father's Day to you too, and those of you just joining us, our YouTube family especially, thank you so much for your constant support. We really appreciate it. Hello, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to the St. Clair's and the guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day to Marlon.
Same to you.
The male prison officer.
Thank you.
God, the father figure. Miss Natasha and the lady officer.
Morning.
Mr. Marlon Lee, you are an example of what a true Trinidad father is all about. And listening to you, it has proven to me that since poverty is a mindset, one can be in prison and be free. And may Jah continue to bless you in all your all your endeavors, and continue to do the wonderful work that you are doing in prison. And when you are out, if you have time, please assist God and VOM in the endeavors to make the road nice for prisoners and so on. Good show. Happy Father's Day once more and safe trip home.
Thank
you.
Nice program.
Thank you very much. 622-3937. Good morning. You know, my father.
Hello.
I do have much to say about him.
Morning.
You know,
Hello, good day. Good morning.
as this guy just mentioned. Morning. Go ahead.
Yes. What a lovely program that you all have this morning. I appreciate it. And one of the things that I would like to say is that the only person in a man's life that wants him to become better than him is his father. Nobody else wants you to become better than them but your father. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. 622-3937. Good morning. Hello. Morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Greetings to all in the studio.
Greetings.
Morning.
First of all, Garth and Natasha, thank you for the great work that you all have been doing over these years. Excellent. To the prison officers, thank you very much for the work that you all have been doing.
Appreciate it.
Marlon,
Good
my
morning.
son, just remember the ankh. You will know who is speaking, your mother. I am very proud of you, my son. Do not give up. Continue doing your good work, right? I have not forgotten the ankh. Again, I repeat, you will know who is speaking. I love you. I will always love you. And we are waiting for you to come out.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant day, everyone. Marlon, all the love in the world to you, son.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Same to you.
Just made a big man cry in the studio here. You know.
Yes.
15 years on remand, and that voice just make him cry. That is how soft we are when coming to certain people in our lives. Marlon, you know what you know, man. Hello, good morning. Morning.
Hello, good morning, Gad. Good morning to you, Gad.
Annette, morning.
Oh gosh,
Where you
you
going?
got cut off there, Annette. Please try again.
Oh, Lord. Sorry there, Annette. Sorry. Hello, morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
To everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the studio, and in particular, my friend who is welcome back. All of my not like my contribution this morning, because as much as I understand the validity of what you're trying to do, I find it very, how to put it, I find it very dishonorable, where it's as if you're trying to correct big men to tell them how to be fathers. I am a father, and I've had an extremely horrible mother. Extremely horrible. And on Mother's Day, I don't hear the program going down this road where we lecture into women. I don't hear that.
What?
And because I listen to you all very well talking about basically men have to step up and all kind of thing, as if the only parent that is bad is a man. And I take umbrage to that. I mean, I'm glad they bring the gentleman on, because it's good that we hear from people who come out from inside and stuff, and I admire him. But the point I'm trying to get at is, you don't hear this kind of thing on a Mother's Day. Why we have to be talking to men as if the only thing a man is something from in jail?
Thanks, caller. Went on your
I'm kind of confused.
Yes, it's same.
She listened to what's happening.
No.
Yeah, I'm confused.
No,
But I'm sorry, I'm not at the control. Storm decided in the conversation. And we don't like to disrespect people like that unless you cross the line, but you made your point. But we don't agree with you. Because we've had females from here on Mother's Day from prison.
Course, yes.
And, so you really need to clarify maybe on another occasion what you really mean, because we like I say, it's prevention work we're doing, so we don't need to come down on people. We just need to let people know how to stay away from drugs, how to stay out of prison, That's all been our role and function for the last 23 years.
And
Hello,
I mean,
good
I
morning.
think with our guest today is a perfect example of, despite the fact that he's incarcerated, an example of how a father is supposed to treat and
Hello?
see about his children.
Yes,
Hi,
Annette,
good
welcome
morning.
back.
Yes, God, I got cut off, so I'm finishing quickly now. God, happy Father's Day to you, the fathers in studio, the
Thank
fathers of I-95, all incarcerated fathers, and of Trinidad and Tobago. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your continued support, Annette. Thank you very much. And to all of you out there, we have major news coming up next with principal of another father right here, Mr. Lance Motley is in
Happy
studio
Father's
already.
Day, sir.
Happy Father's Day, Lance.
Father's Day.
And Ms. Agard, any closing remarks?
Thank you very much, God, for having us here. As we say, fathers lead by example. Good example, that is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Steele?
Remember the role, I just like to say the role of the prison officer. We take a damaged product. We put it through the process of rehabilitation. So whenever they return to society, they could be accepted. And they'll be a better person than when they came in. So, to all the fathers, happy Father's Day. To all the ones that need to step up, you understand, do a better job, and continue to be on the way to be the way it's supposed to be. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, Garth and Natasha. Thanks for my officers, and to all the fathers out there, please take heed and do what God has appointed you to do in predestination, to have dominion and responsibility for your roles and function as fathers. Happy Father's Day, Trinidad and Tobago.
And to the caller who just called before, Annette, maybe we should hook us up on Dependency. Let's see if we could have a conversation, because we have not dismissed what you said. Of course, they are horrible mothers. And we could have that conversation, all right? So, but thank you very much for listening and calling in. Folks,
I would like, before we go, just to pay tribute to my father, although he's no longer with us. Thank you, Daddy, for instilling the kind of values that I carry on today, and doing so not in a way that has caused injury to me, because we know that fathers can have a negative influence. As Garth said, his experience with his father was not one that was positive, so I am grateful for the father that I have had.
yeah, Daddy, happy Father's Day. You know, I know you're shoveling a lot of coals right now down where you are, but happy Father's Day. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll be back again, God's willing, next week, please God, for another edition of Dependency. No, but we tell about the reality. That is best, you know. I be really, you know, he's shoveling coals. Happy Father's Day, folks. Take care. Lance Motley is up next with Major News at 12.